Have you ever been in a situation in your business where things are moving and you're checking along, and then next thing you know, you fall flat right on your face. And maybe the first time you shake it off a little bit, you get back up and you start chucking along, start chucking along, you get a little sprint, and then next thing you know, you fall again. And then the second time you fall, you start thinking like, okay, something's going on here. But you don't give up. You get back up and you go for it again. You start checking along, and then this time you're running, you got a little more run, you get a little faster, the next thing you know, you fall right on your face again. In this video, I want to go over failing forward. So in business, as an entrepreneur, especially early on, failing is a part of entrepreneurship. Every entrepreneur knows that to get to the next level, you got to understand that failure is just a part of it. And I really feel like this is what scares a lot of people away from pursuing something bigger, being something bigger, seeing and believing in the vision to do something more, is because of the fear of the failure. Now, what is failure? That's a good question. What is failure? I feel like failure is something different to each and every one of us. To one person, failure could be being laughed at by their family. To another person, failure could be losing all of their money. To another, failure could be the way it makes them feel inside. To another, failure could be losing their job. So failure is different to every single one of us. But what it all boils down to is an emotional outcome that we don't want to experience. And as an entrepreneur in business, we have to understand that that's a part of the growth, and we have to be able to grow out of the fear of failure. And to be able to do that, understanding that we fail forward. Not fail as in I fail, but failed, like FAIL. We fail forward. So how do you do that? Well, let's say you're on right here, right? And this is some steps. Okay? This is your path to success. And it's going to be, something like this. Most people, they don't even want to take this first step. This, for a lot of people, is the hardest part. Because if you make that first step and bust your head, not only is it's the embarrassment, the pain of the failure. They don't even want to get to this first step, let alone get here. But the funny thing is, from what I've experienced within my own journey and seeing through stories that I've heard from other people that are in entrepreneurship, if you take this first step and fail, but you get up and take the second step, odds are you'll get to the third step, possibly the fourth step, before you fall again. That's the that's the funny thing about entrepreneurship. The failure never stops because the journey never ends. Like I said in the previous video, it's not a retirement situation. Entrepreneurship and purpose is not a retirement. You never retire because you're not working. You're being. It's a totally different experience. It's a totally different outlook on life. So the failing is just a part of the journey of growing. But this right here stops a lot of people. I challenge you, all you would-be entrepreneurs, all you new entrepreneurs, people who are starting a business this year, people who are just getting, if you're 6 months in, 7 months in, 8 months in, and you've taken this first step, you haven't bust your head yet, keep going. And when you bust your head, because it's going to happen, I promise you, understand it's part of the journey. Don't give up and keep going. And you'll find yourself getting to that second step, that third step, and that fourth step. That's failing forward. Okay. Most people, if they get to this, if they do get to the first step and they fail, then some of them will cut it right there. They'll cut it right there, and then they'll start heading back to security because the fear is keeping them from moving forward to the next level. From what I've experienced, most entrepreneurs in stories, like I say, stories I've heard, once they get here and they say they fail, most don't cut it off. They just keep going because at this point you understand that it's a part of the journey. Now, sometimes to fail forward means you got to do something called, and this is like a buzzword, at least it's something that I've heard recently. Sometimes you got to pivot. Failing forward sometimes means you got to have to pivot. Maybe what you started is not going to be where you end. You know, you started doing this business and now you're doing this business. And then 5 years later, you're doing this business. And then 10 years later, you're doing this business. There's times where you have to pivot and understand that. Don't feel guilty if you have to pivot. That's a part of the failing forward. Maybe the first business, maybe this wasn't the right vehicle for you to get you to where you want to go. Okay? Maybe you wanted to be in a rocket and you found that out that you were just on a bike. Maybe you want to be in a plane and you found out you were just in a car, you know? So don't be afraid to pivot. And pivot is when you're failing forward and you're on that journey and you're walking and you're running and you're jogging and then you fall and bust your head and you say, okay, this road is obviously not going to take me where I want to go. I'm going to make a sharp left. I'm going to make a sharp right. But you keep going. See, the magic in entrepreneurship is that you have to keep going. You have to keep going and understand too that we're all on God's time. That's a big thing in failing forward is we're all on God's time. We don't know the day it's going to happen. Just like none of us know the day we're going to die. We don't know the day where we're going to break through that level of what we would consider success. So just like earlier, how we said, what is failure? And we gave a couple examples. This could be losing all your money, being laughed at by your colleagues, your family and friends, feeling like a failure when you look in the mirror, like just being down on yourself. But what is considered success now? Success could be like the exact opposite of all those. Those around you look at you as a hero and give you praises and respect. You're able to hold your head up, hold your chin up a little higher. You break into a financial level where you feel successful, whether that's 10,000 a month or 100,000 a month or a million a month or 10 million a month, whatever that is to you. It could be when you look in the mirror, you're extremely proud of yourself, and no matter no matter what anybody say or whoever you run into, you feel strong within yourself. So you have to understand though that it's going to take steps to get there. But if you cut it off at any of these levels, you're cutting off all the rest of the potential for you. So I wanted to give one other example of failing forward. And when you do fall, all that means is there's something you still don't know. If you're running, you're walking, you're jogging, and you're on a clear path, the odds of you falling is not going to, odds are you're not going to fall unless you trip on your own self. You trip over your own foot. If the path is clear, you're golden. But as an entrepreneur and someone especially just starting out in business and getting an understanding of all this, the path is not going to be clear. Okay? So that means there's something you still don't know is there blocking you or there to trip you up. Okay? So let me give this example. Let's say you have Usain Bolt, right? One of the fastest men in the world. Who's supposed to be in a lightning bolt? Hold on. I could do a lightning bolt. Okay, that's Usain Bolt, right? One of the fastest men in the world, period. let's say he's our entrepreneur of the year right here. And he's on, the Olympic track. Clear, not a thing in his way. It's paved perfect. He got the perfect running shoes on. What's the odds of him being successful and making it to the finish line? Very likely. Very likely. If this was the road of entrepreneur success, then he's going to be successful 100% for sure. First shot. Nothing is in his way. But let's say, because we all know that the road is never that clear. Let's say the same man, fastest man in the world, is running through a jungle. And not just any jungle. This is a jungle that he's never been in. He has no experience. He don't know what's waiting for him. He don't know about the eyes that are looking at him. He don't see the snake in the tree right here. He don't see the cats in the trees, and he don't see the monkey right here waiting to do some damage to him. The same fastest man, the entrepreneur of the year, if he's running through this forest and he has no idea the path, that means that there's a lot of things that he don't know. And no matter how fast he is, this is going to slow him down. This is going to trip him up. This may stop him from getting to the goal if he gives up at any of these points. So this is a lot like entrepreneurship. We want the path to be clear. We want it to be easy. We want to just have a straight shot and get there. But it would be too easy at that point. What would be the point? Everybody would do it if it was that easy. Entrepreneurship is a lot more like this jungle. You got to trek through. You got to figure it out. You got to fight the monkeys. You got to fight the snakes. You got to fight the cats. You got to beware of these creepy eyes looking at you, waiting for you to slip up. You got to watch the quicksand, and you got to trek through to get to a breaking point of success. And even once you get here, there's a whole nother jungle waiting for you of new situations, new problems, new temptations, new distractions. Okay? So don't be afraid to fail, because failing means that you're moving forward. And I know it doesn't feel like that sometimes. Most times it doesn't feel that way, because you're in the emotional pain of the immediate failure. You may be behind on all your bills. You may be losing loved ones. You may be hurting on the inside and no one sees it. You may be feeling like a failure. But understand that it's all part of the journey. And failing forward is something that you have to go through, and that you have to be willing to accept, understand, and continue to move forward through as an entrepreneur. So I hope this video helped you a little bit. This is Stephen Loss Jr. If you liked it, please go ahead and like, subscribe, shoot that thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.